Hello and welcome back. Another week, another good chapters of boyfriend material. This week was if you know you know. If you know you know what's coming up. And this week was great. It was all smooth sailing, it was all fun, it was all cute, it was all horny. It was all sex and passion. This week, wow. The fact that I've was really tactfully trying to choose while reading which bits I would want to read out on camera or not, because I was like, these are some semi-explicit, there was such, the writing and the passion was amazing, but I was just like, can I say this on the, I don't know, it was just such good stuff. And so enjoyable and so much fun. I don't know, it's one of those, usually when you do your 5 chapters, you have one that's a bit intense or a bit serious, but these were just 5 good ones. Granted, since we're kind of coming up on the end of the book, I'm a little bit worried, is there gonna be a something go wrong towards the end that we have to fix first, or are we just gonna go smooth sailing? Because I could do that. I would really like that, but I don't know how it's gonna work. But I can't wait to get into these chapters with you. On a side note, I think I've got to put up the poll for the next book somewhat soon. Thoughts on... I'm pretty sure I'll use a lot of the options from the last poll that we did. Maybe I'll recycle a couple of those. But do let me know if you've got any more suggestions. I do like them, though I definitely want to have on the poll the Charm Offensive, which I have there, which I bought, which I've heard is really good, and I'm excited to read at some point or another. And one of the other ones that had stuck with me was House by the Cerulean Sea. Something about the sea. That one really sparked my interest and had a big, a lot of people were interested in that one. So those two, I think, will definitely be on the poll, and then I'll figure out... I could honestly do a poll of 2, but we like options sometimes. But yeah, let me know if you got any more other suggestions down below. That would be great. But for now, what are we I'm what are we going into? Let's go into chapter 36. So first of all, this week, I feel like I've said this in a couple of recent ones. Might be a bit different because I feel like there wasn't as many bits I circle. Sometimes I get caught up in actually just really enjoying the book and forget to circle some things. But for this one, I felt like there was a certain chapter, the horny one, that I was circling non-stop, and there were big sections. I was like, yes, great. And then there were the other ones where I was like, it was all good, but more to just talk about. Wasn't as many bits that I was gonna read. So I feel like it's gonna be briskly going through chapters, big horny chapter of reading, and then briskly going through the through the rest of it. So we'll just have a little bit of a chat, won't we? We go into chapter 36. We're going to Jennifer's party. Lot of names. Am I going to remember them? No, but a lot of names, a lot of new friends, a lot of people to meet. I love, they're standing at the doorstep, and Luke is kind of in my mind, well, obviously, they did the thing where they explained what was going on, but in my mind, he's just holding on to his he's standing behind Oliver, holding his coat jacket on his arm. Just they do liken him to being a child, standing behind him, carrying, scared. I think it's kind of the most adorable thing ever. And just when a little kid pulls on the your a coat jacket in a movie and then just don't know what to do. That's exactly how I imagine Luke, and he's just kind of really, they're framing him to be small and scared, and I think it's adorable because he's in this, meeting new people can always be scary. Especially I feel if you're an introvert, obviously it's a lot worse. I'm self-proclaimed ambiverted, so I feel I do 50-50. So sometimes I hate meeting new people and I'm so scared, and then other times I'm like, fuck it, let's go, let's meet some people and talk. Depends what sort of space you're into, obviously. And this I felt is a bit of a scarier space for him because apparently he never interacts with straight people. B, it's like Oliver's friends and he wants to impress them, but he kind of goes in, they're kind of really lively and energetic and fun. They all seem really smart and he's like, okay, maybe like this isn't that bad. And then they all start like riffing on Oliver and like taking the shit out of him sometimes, how he like, tries to scare away all his boyfriends. And Luke kind of is like, ding, light bulb moment. I know how to interact with you people. It's by jumping on the bandwagon and bullying Oliver. And I think it was just like so adorable the way he just kind of like gained that confidence in bullying. And then he's like, oh, actually, like, I vibe this. I can deal with this. I know what's going on. I know how we're all going to interact. But more people keep showing up to this party. We're having a great time. We're having drinks. We're figuring it out. And then like another person comes in and she was talking about lawyery stuff, law stuff, politics stuff, and Luke's just kind of like, am I like the only am I the only non-lawyer here? And then they're all like joking about things and they're like, no, that's okay, one of them's just married to the lady with money because that sounds great. I was like, that does sound great. They're also all waiting for Bridget, which I didn't know was invited, which is kind of good. Like, I feel like Luke should be a lot more. That would give him a lot of confidence to just have that person that he knows. And when she does eventually arrive late as usual, Jennifer was kind of like, oh, I was excited to have the goss and know that these people are here before you. And Bridget's like, how did we not? I felt like in my mind, I was like, how did she not know that Bridge and Luke are good friends and all know it? I felt like that should have been discussed. Either way, when she did finally arrive, I was like, thank God. Like, as much as I'm just like meeting new people is good and you always want like another safe, to know someone else is always very helpful, to be fair. So yeah, at the end of the chapter, it just goes on about Bridge spotting Luke. Oh, Luke, you're here. I grinned at her. I'm a +1. I don't believe it. Jennifer Wimbledon between me and Bridge. Oliver brings his new boyfriend to my party, and I think I finally beat you to relationship gossip, and it turns out you've already met. Bridge looked at me, and there's no other word for it. Smug. Of course. Luke's my best friend, and Oliver's the only other gay man I know. I've been trying to get them to date for years. Now, it's hilarious because it's Bridge, and I feel like even we have built up this rapport with Bridge. We get it. That's like her humor. It's funny like that. Do I think that is a semi-trope in both real life and media with gay characters and gay people where they're like, we know two people you can date. You will definitely get along and you could date. It's not like you have like thoughts of your own or or like a type that maybe this person might not be. Like, I will say, it's funny kind of in a book because it's not real and you get to read it and Bridge and they're all likable characters and then you've seen them like Luke and Oliver get along, so you're like, well, they're a perfect match, so maybe she knew that all along. But the amount of times in real life I've like talked about like relationships and countless people I feel like have said, oh, I know someone. And I'm like, is it like the only other gay man you know? And they're like, yeah, like no, that'd be perfect. I'm like, would they, or are they just the only other possible person that you could find? I think there was a point in my life where, like, I feel like it doesn't happen anymore because I feel like you get to that age where you kind of hang out with the people you know and are not going to say that sort of, even though it's not the worst thing to say in the world. But at one point, I'm pretty sure I started saying, they're like, oh, I know this other gay person. I'm like, I know heaps of straight people too. It's great, isn't it? I just like, let's not fucking pawn me off to some rando just because they happen to be of the same orientation. I'm like, come on, let's figure it out. We've both got personalities and let's figure out if they would match. But I do think in a way it's both annoying but a funny trope. So I'm letting her off with a pass here. Also, sorry I'm wobbling the camera so much. I did get a new tripod. If you watch any of my the bear reactions, you'll see my tripod. I added a little clip in the season finale of season 2. My tripod broke. I got a new one. It's more stable but less stable because every time I move, my camera wobbles. So just know that I am not trying to give you motion sickness. It just happens. And it also makes me slightly bleh as well. So we're on the same page. So we're going into chapter 37. We're around the table. We're having some dinner. We're figuring out what we're eating. For entree, we're doing prawn cocktails. Now, they weren't very excited about the idea of a prawn cocktail. Me, myself, from what I remember from having prawn cocktails as a child, I thought they were so fancy. I thought they were the coolest thing ever. And not that bad. Though they said pink mayonnaise, but isn't it just... Oh no, I don't actually remember what it is. But I was like, I swear it's not that bad. But Oliver didn't even... He just got a glass little, thing that the prawn cocktail comes in of pink mayonnaise, because they're like, you're a vegetarian and you're horrible. And we didn't consider you for entrees. But they were very nice. They were like, oh, we made a mushroom Wellington because everyone's getting beef Wellingtons for mains. And Oliver's like, oh, that's nice. It's a beef Wellington, except for Oliver, who gets mushroom Wellington, which, I'll be honest, we sort of made up. Oliver handed back his largely untouched glass of pink mayonnaise, which is to say the main course should be edible for everyone except me. I'm sorry, Oliver, Peter gazed at him with a mock contrition, but you should have stuck to being our only gay friend. Trying to be our only vegetarian friend as well is frankly pushing it. You know, I said, the mushrooms sound lovely. If there's enough, I'll have some too. Bridge actually made a squeak noise. A squee noise! And you used to be so grumpy and unromantic. I've never been grumpy and unromantic. I've occasionally been, I tried to think of something, brooding and cynical. It's so cute that Luke is doing it. He's trying really hard to relate to his friends and talk to everyone, and he's also like, don't worry, I'll be in it with you. I'll eat your crappy mushroom Wellington. I will. It's so adorable to see this growth and how far he's coming. It's like, I'll stick by my man, and I will have the shitty food too. Because if it's not gonna be good, I'll deal with that together. And it was just delightful to see. So someone was getting into the general pleasantries of meeting new people and be like, oh, Luke, what do you do? I hear you're a rock star. And he's like, that is not me. That is my parents. That is exactly the opposite of what I am. And he's just like, oh, that makes sense. Why would someone be like that, be with Oliver? And we're getting this real, everyone's shitting on Oliver. And it's getting to that point where it's gone from, really funny to, maybe it's happening a bit too much and maybe we should dial it back. And Oliver even kind of cracks a little bit of the shit scene. He's like, you're kind of a dick. So we have a little bit of awkwardness, but I'm pretty sure Sophie jumps in and she's like, so what if you're not a rock star, what do you actually do? I'm a fundraiser for a charity. Oh, of course you are. Oliver, why are all your boyfriends always so daringly ethical? Don't worry. I slanted a secret grin at Oliver. I'm not ethical at all. I used to be in PR before I got fired, becoming the story. And now I work for the only people that'll have me. That's far better. Keep this one, darling. He's a lot more interesting than the others. I want to know about the others. Yes, Oliver lifted a brow. Appeasing my evilest friend is exactly what I look for in a boyfriend. You joke, but it should be. Her attention flicked to me. What's your charity trying to save/prevent? Dung beetles. Oh my god. They were talking about it, and he was like to this Sophie character, he's like, actually, I'm not here to try and get you to donate. And she was like, actually, try your fucking best. And he's like, game on. And I was like, I love this. Why are they playing bloody bitchy tennis about charity dung beetles? I love it. But there's a big bit here. I said there wasn't any big bit, but there's a big bit here that I have to read out because there's absolutely so much fun. And it's just, Luke is shining and I love it. No, please fish, Sophie. Jennifer flashed a smile at me across the table. She's got pots of money and doesn't deserve any of it. Excuse me, I work very hard for my morally bankrupt clients. But go on, charity man. Sophie propped her chin on her palm and gazed at me challengingly. Land me. I gave Sophie a once-over, remarkably together despite the truly stupendous amount she'd drunk. From her choice of dress, she liked people to underestimate her, and, from the way she spoke, she'd like to remind them that they had. There was a strategy that would probably work here, but it was risky. I love how that we're getting to see that Luke is a little bit more of a people person than we would. He's at least very, smart and, he knows what to do in the realms that he knows, which is fantastic. We haven't really, we talk about how good Oliver is at, shining in his job and, doing these things, but we haven't got to see that as much with Luke, so this is, really exciting. Okay, I said. I'm guessing that you donate to charity for exactly 2 reasons, which are tax breaks and sticking to your do-gooder friends. I could try to explain to you why dung beetles are a vital part of the country's ecology, but clearly you don't care, and that's okay. So instead, I'll tell you this. Any asshole with a credit card can give money to puppies with cancer or toys for sad children. But nothing says I've thought about my charitable donations better than you having, giving your money to an environmentally vital but fundamentally unattractive insect. In the who's the best at philanthropy game, the person with the most obscure charity wins. Always. And you do not get more obscure than us. There was a pause, a deeply uncomfortable pause that lasted just long enough for me to wonder how badly I'd blown it. Then Sophie's lips twisted into a gleeful smirk. Sold. How much do you need? Ben burst out laughing, and I wasn't sure where to go from here. Great. That's great. But you're really pissed right now, and you're Oliver's friends, and I wouldn't want him to be cross with me. I'm perfectly happy, he interrupted. Bleed her dry. Even so, I do actually have some professional ethics. You can ring me tomorrow if you want, or I can tell you to call and we can set up a lunch, or, there's a big do next week where you can come and hang out with posh people and throw all your money at us, if that's how you're feeling. You have a dung beetle do? Yeah, we call it the Beetle Drive. Aren't we adorable? Another pause. I feel compelled to point out, said Sophie finally, that you've just refused to take money from me now because I'm drunk, but you've invited me to a party where you presumably try and get a lot of people drunk and then ask them for money. Yeah, it's not unethical if you print invitations. Then I suppose I'll see you there. What? How good did he do? It was fantastic. I was he just roped in a sale or roped in a donation, and she'll be there, and with him being worried about his Beetle Drive, having another person that he knows there that might actually give a lot of money is fun, and he's bringing in more people, and he's socializing with, and this is the part I don't like, socially acceptable people, but having someone there that actually does like you and maybe wants to give to the charity, whether she just wants to do it because it looks good for her or not, is good for Luke and his work. So any way to get ahead, am I right? But it was just so fun, and he's just I can read this person so easily and I will do it. So after that, everyone was still just talking a bit. And this is the bit that starts the bit that's going to be the bit that I read all the time because this is so good, and it just keeps for this bit, and then the next chapter, ooh, saucy, scandalous, and I fucking love it. When Oliver leaned over, he whispered to me that I should come outside for a moment. Oh shit, I shouldn't have tried to develop his friend. What the fuck was wrong with me? Feeling distinctly chastised, I trailed Oliver into the hall. Look, I started, I'm sorry, At which point, he pressed me against the wall and kissed me. It was fair to say we'd done a decent amount of kissing since we put it on the boyfriend menu, but it hadn't been like this since my Guardian-related freakout. I was beginning to think jumping in had put him off somehow. And while I'd really like to get back to how things had been that night on my sofa, the sweet, sharp certainty of wanting, and being wanted, I'd been wary of pushing my luck. We hadn't managed to see each other for most of the week, and it was hard to accept a guy to look at you as passionate and intensely sexual being when your last 2 meetings had involved crying on a bathroom floor and an exhibition of glass sculptures, but apparently been moderately supportive at a party and trying to make one of his friends give money to dung beetles had done the job just fine. In any case, I was here for it. Very, very here for it. As briefly was someone who just told us to get a room on the way to the loo. But fuck it. These weren't yeah whatever kisses. They were take it or leave it. Get your coat you've pulled kisses. They were everything I thought I could never have. Everything I'd been pretending I never wanted. Telling me that I was worth it. And he'd be there for me and put up with me and wouldn't let me drive him away. Oliver Blackwood was giving all to me, and I was giving it right back, in the clutch of hands and the press of bodies and the urgent heat of his mouth on mine. And when it stopped, it still wasn't over, because he sort of kept staring at me, his eyes all shiny, and his thumbs brushed lightly over my cheeks. Oh, Lucian. Take it you're not cross about Sophie then? On the contrary. Contrary? I was impressed. I hope you're not having a terrible evening. No, it's really nice. They like you, you know. He kissed me again, more gently this time. You can tell by the way they've been total dicks. I laughed. I should probably introduce you to my total dicks as well. I'd like that, I mean, if you think it'd reflect positively on you. Oliver, I was feeling way too soppy to give him a withered look, but I tried anyway. My friends know who I am. Of course you'd reflect positively on me. Sorry, I'm glad you came with me tonight. Me too. I haven't had a Bacardi Breezer in years. I paused, savouring his reaction. And this bit didn't suck either. Well, I'm glad at least I outranked the prawn cocktail. Pulling him close again, I nipped playfully at the edge of his jaw, where he was all stern and square. We should go back. Actually, a faint flush darkened his cheek. I was rather minded to take you home. Why, are you not feeling... Oh. I mean, if that's agreeable. It was the wrong time, but I had to. I thought you said that wasn't the title of your sex tape. I lied, one of his little coughs. Now, let's see if we can make our excuses and leave discreetly. Having met Oliver's friends for all of 10 seconds, I did not rate our chances of running home to shag without their knowing exactly what we were up to and commenting on it accordingly. And I was super right. Ooh, oh my god, we're going home, we're having a good time, we're kissing, we're gonna go fuck, and it's just so excited because Luke's been waiting for it, and we haven't seen, and they talk about this in the next chapter, but we haven't seen Oliver kind of be not passionate, but aggressively loving this and going for it and not being proper, and he's just fuck it, this is great and I'm going for it. And it's just that carnal desire and instinct and passion and just fun, and it's great to see Oliver digging into that, and actually Luke being on kind of the back foot for the more sexual one of the of the duo. He's just oh, what are we doing? And Oliver's this is what we're doing, this is what I want. And you're kind of holy shit, he's always kind of he's always been leading, but not like this, and it's just so much fun and so exciting. But we go into chapter 38. So, chapter 38 is the fucking chapter of all chapters at this at this moment. It is very, what can I say, fucking fantastic to read. And I've circled some of my favorite bits, but we start, they're in that honeymoon newly, they're just going at each other. They're having fun. The taxi ride home felt long because I think they had so much sexual energy for each other. But then Luke kind of starts, he does that thing where he overthinks, and overthinkers understand it. We get it. I understand it, but I was you can't think about it too much, but that's easy to say. I would be overthinking if I was in his position, but he's to see this, and Oliver's so serious about it, and he said he'd only do this with someone he really likes or loves or interested, and he wants it to be good and real and passionate, and he doesn't do this often, and he's I only do hookups, and this is more intimate, and he's kind of worried. He's what if I'm not good enough? And everything's freaking him out a bit, and he's shit, I don't know what's going on at the moment. But Oliver really takes charge, as he usually does, but in a different way, and it's just yeah, I'm in love with Oliver. Suddenly, Oliver's weight shifted, and for a handful of awful seconds, I thought I'd put him off somehow. But then he hoisted me into his arms, and I was such a weird combination of relieved and lust added that, rather than asking what the hell he was playing at, I wrapped my legs around him like a twink in a porno. With a strength I should have found surprising, given his commitment to a healthy lifestyle, he started carrying me towards the bedroom. It was a perfectly magical fantasy, right up until he pitched forward and dropped me on the stairs. I said, ow. Looking flustered and adorable, Oliver reversed off me like a minibus in a cul-de-sac. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I was thinking. No, it's cool. It was briefly very sexy and romantic. Are you hurt? Are you okay? I'm okay. Bit self-conscious about being too heavy to carry. I'd been joking, but, of course, Oliver got terribly serious in case he'd accidentally body shamed me, as well as accidentally slamming me. It doesn't reflect well on you at all. I overestimated my ability to handle the stairs. Good to know. Now will you stop being reassuring and fuck me? I will fuck you, Lucien. He'd gone all stern, and, for once, it didn't bother me at all. In the manner of my choosing, I stared at him wide-eyed and blatantly into whatever this was. Steady on. I didn't sign up for 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Gay. Oh my god, I didn't even read it properly the first time. No, you signed up for me. Now go upstairs and get on the bed. I went upstairs and got on the bed. A few seconds later, Oliver appeared in the doorway, dropping his coat on the floor. And, wow. I'd never seen him not use a hanger. He must have been really into this. Into me? I'm sorry, he said, blushing a little. I never thought you... Don't apologize. It's, interesting. He blushed even harder. I've actually wanted to do this for a rather long time. Just throwing this out there, I scowled at him. You absolutely could have, at any point. I suppose I thought you were worth waiting for. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, Jesus. This writing is, really good. While reading this, I found it hard to just, circle the things because I was so enthralled and gripped by it, and I was just in it, and I was having the best time, and it was so saucy but well written. It was just fantastic. I'll talk about it more, but I feel like we should just get back into it because it's so bloody exciting. So basically, they're taking off their clothes, kind of getting into it, and Luke's kind of a bit self-conscious, which, I could completely understand hearing how Oliver's body looks. I'd be feeling oh shit too, because he's described as perfect. Should I go to the gym? I asked. Ever? Because otherwise you're going to have to get used to being monumentally average. You are many things, Lucien, but you could never be average. No, this is a physical thing, and believe me, stop it. He kissed me, hard enough to smother my protests, his palm gliding over the exposed skin of my torso, and leaving a pattern of fresh warmth. You're beautiful, so beautiful I can't believe I'm finally getting to touch you. I wanted to say something suave and witty, to show I was suave and witty, and not a pile of melt, but all I managed was... Fuck, Oliver. God, his voice roughened. I love how responsive you are. Look. His fingertips spiraled up my arms and across my shoulder, goosebumps springing up from his wake like they were doing a stadium wave. I tried to make a noise that somehow signaled, yep, this is how I am with everybody, certainly not just with you. But when his mouth got involved, laying pleasure over pleasure over pleasure, and I think I whimpered. The things, he murmured, the things I've dreamed of doing to you. I blinked. Maybe I could salvage this before I fell apart. Why? Are they filthy? Nothing like that. He pushed me onto my back, his hands unbuckling my belt, pulled off my jeans, boxers, and socks, in a flurry of very Oliver efficiency. I just wanted to be with you. Like this. I want to make you feel things. Good things. For me. He was gazing at me, with his terrible earnestness, meaning every word. And, it was fine. I could cope with this. I could have feelings. It was fine. Never mind that this was a sense of nakedness settling over me, strangely independent of the fact that I was actually naked. And never mind that every time he touched me, it was like an unmaking me with tenderness. And definitely never mind that I needed this so badly I wasn't sure how to have it. Now Oliver was shedding the rest of his clothes, shirt and trousers and everything else, landing messily by the side of the bed. I'd almost forgotten what it was like for a moment, like this to mean something. For the first time you saw your partner undressed, how they both gained and lost mystery, the truth of them, all their secrets and imperfections, surpassing any fantasy you could have conjured. The strangest thing that was Oliver had seemed so unreal to me at first. I wanted him from the beginning, from that horrible encounter at that horrible party, but the way you'd want to watch a jeweler's shop window. A kind of frustrated admiration for something distant and perfect and just a little bit artificial. But actually, I hadn't seen him at all. Only a reflected bundle of badly thought out desires. And Oliver was so much more than that. He was kind and complicated, and more anxious than he let on, if his texting style was anything to go by. I know how to make him angry and how to make him laugh, and I hoped I could make him happy. Or maybe I couldn't. Maybe I was just too fucked up. But Oliver had stuck with me through my dad's bullshit and my mum's curry. He'd held my hand in front of reporters. He'd let me dump him and undump him through a toilet door. He'd become one of the best parts of my life, and I was so fucking well going to try. I heard myself say, I want to be good for you too. I'm just not sure. He lowered himself over me, all heat and strength and perfect light of skin. You are, this is. But shh. You don't have to do anything. You're enough. I gazed at him, not sure what was coming next. From the look on his face, he probably wasn't either. Everything, he finished. Well, this was new. Having to deal with sex feelings and feeling feelings at the same time, teaming up to leave you all achy and open and hopeful. Speechless, but also not speechless because I'm gonna fucking talk. Wow, was that just fucking amazing and beautiful, and like, it was so like sexual and like horny and like hot, but it was also like so eloquent and like well described and beautiful and even in a way reserved. It like hit both strides so well. It was like very like brilliantly written. I don't know, and it helps that just like the build up of these characters has been so fantastic, and we've enjoyed them like moving forward so much, and then just to see this, it's so good. I don't know. I'm having a good time. I can't even like think because I'm in a state of like euphoria. I'm just like, wow, this is so good, and get to read this and see all this stuff pay off. It's just been like so much fun, and I love it, and it's killing me. But we've got one more little bit here, and then I'll try and make some thoughts, which are not going to happen because they haven't happened for the last 2 times I've tried to stop and talk about these chapters. Please trust me, Lucian. In that moment, I was sort of relieved and sort of horrified to hear the vulnerability in Oliver's voice. It's okay to have this. Then what are you having? You. He smiled, eyes glinting silver. I'm rather enjoying having you at my mercy. And that was when I remembered something. How fucking good it could be to be with someone, to let them see you, to be enough. How about I strained up and kissed him? Well, bit him. Kissily. Less mercy, more having. He legit growled. And things got excitingly rough for a while, my self-consciousness fleeing with Oliver's self-restraint. I made a few token efforts to wriggle free, but he always distracted me, with my name on his lips, or some fresh touch to a place I never knew I could be so sensitive, and by the time he stopped holding me down, I was too far gone to notice. There was only him and me, and the crumpling sheets, and the play of the streetlight through the curtains. I was pinned by the sheer pleasure of it all, of Oliver's ragged breath and the steam of his caresses, of his deep, deep kisses, ceaseless as the sky is summer, the drag and press of our bodies, the rub of hair and the glide of sweat, and the way he was looking at me, tender and fierce and almost awestruck, like I was a different, better person, although maybe, just then, I was. Someone please call an ambulance, because I'm going to die. At least someone call me an IV, because I need to, be reawoken, back to life. Just even that last bit, like I was a different, better, but he looked at me like the person. I feel like Oliver looks at him like the person he knows he could be, and he is, that Luke doesn't see himself as, and it just maybe gives him that confidence to be that, that complete version of himself. Like, not the better version of himself, the version of himself that he is, that when he's, like, confident and happy that he can be. It's just fantastic. But also, like, the roughness of it all, and, like, forgetting who you are, but also being into it and just being present and loving it, enjoying it with the person and you're just, wow. Romance books, or, like, these romance books will never, like, the way they describe everything, like, it's so hard because, like, in a movie you get to see it, but the description, like, in just the way certain media does certain things, just like this scene, is just so good and so amazing. And I loved it so much. It was just like, with chapter 38 not the best fucking chapter ever, because I was having a great time. I was all in. I think I blacked out. I don't think I'm alive anymore. Are we still recording? I don't know. It's one of those things. I feel like I am gone. I am gone forever. Goodbye. Farewell. Whatever that Sound of Music song is. Yeah. We should just end the video here, but we have 2 more chapters. But we should just end it here. End it on the fucking best note ever. Honestly, I should just, like, rip the next bit of the book out, because what's gonna top that? Honestly, I hope there is something, but, like, that was just so good in my mind. But we move on to chapter 39. So, chapter 39 was a very quick one. We finally met up with Father Dearest. Father, maybe we don't care about as much. Mr. John Flemings, we met at a place. He was a bit late. We both grabbed a beer or I'm not a artisanal beer drinker or whatever they're called, so I don't know what they are, but basically a beer. And, we're just we're kind of talking. John Fleming's going on these escapades of his past and talking. He's doing all the talking for us, which is probably a good thing. And Luke is kind of interested. He doesn't want to admit it, but he's kind of like, I'm actually kind of like, enjoy what you're talking about. I won't say it, but I'm listening to a certain extent. And it's at that point where he's like, I'm kind of involved in this conversation, where Mr. Flemings says, "Anyway, this has been good. I should let you go." "Oh, you're going?" "Yeah, I'm expected at Elton's for a party. I'm sure you and your boyfriend have a lot to do as well." Somehow, he was making me resent the ending of a meeting I'd resented the start of. "Okay, well, this was a thing we did." As he stood, he realized he hadn't even taken off his coat. But then, he paused, and gave me one of those deep, soulful looks that, just for a moment, made it all okay. "I'd like to do this again, while there's still time. I'm pretty busy over the next couple of weeks. I've got a work due and Oliver's parents' anniversary. After that then, we'll go to dinner. I'll text you." And then he was gone. Again, and I did not know how to feel. I mean, I was pretty sure I'd done the right thing, but apart from that, I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be getting out of it. There was no way we'd ever be close. Any chance of that had gone out the window when he'd walked out on me and not come back for 25 years. And now I stopped to think about it. He'd still expressed no remorse about that, and he was clearly never going to. Probably would never even have a conversation that didn't center entirely on him. Not that long ago, it had been a point of pride for me to take the fuck all he was offering me and shove it up his ass. But I didn't really need to do that anymore, and I think I liked not needing to do that. Besides, the man was dying. I could listen to a few stories if it helped him deal. The truth was, John Fleming wasn't going to change, and I wasn't going to be important to him in the way I used to think I had to. But I was sort of getting to know him, and I was sort of getting to be there, and that was something. So why not take it? Very interesting, like, a very quick chapter and very quick meetup, and I didn't go into it that much, but it was just John Fleming, blah, 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 talking. But I think that is just such, like, Luke is really, from where we had, he's just kind of like, I know this isn't, like, it doesn't have to be what I always thought it had to be. And I know I'm never going to be important to him, or I'm never going to get apologies. But he's in this state that he has built up through this book and these chapters where he's like, I don't really need that anymore. And I think I'm at the place where I can agree that if maybe I'm just helping him through this journey and I'm being, nice and caring to him, and he can get something out of it, that's a good thing that I can do. If it's not rewarding to me in any way, that doesn't matter. He is like the bigger person. He's not like shit talking him as much. He's just like, I can listen. It's not that hard. It takes up an hour of my time every now and then. And I think it's he's not like forgiving him for leaving or doing this, but he's realizing that if he could do this, maybe it's just something nice that he is doing, and taking that high road. And I think it's really good because it's not, letting someone off the hook, and it's, he's not getting that apology, but he's just realizing that it's not the hardest thing to do. And it's kind of building him, like, not getting the apology and realizing what he doesn't have to be for him is kind of giving him this newfound strength that I really like. And it's still hard to like wrap my head around. I feel like it is a thing that I can definitely like see from the outside and talk about, but to not have like to be able to relate to that definitely makes it, there's a wall there that I can't cross to connect to it and actually like be like, oh, I know how you're feeling or what, so I can only speculate and point things out and be like, this is what I think he thinks. But it's still very interesting, and I like where he has gotten to. So we're on chapter 40, last chapter of this week, and it's another really small one, but really cute, really fun, really quick. Basically, the Beetle Drive is happening. Everything's going... I felt like I imagined these to be years away. Like, I was just in my mind when we first talked about the Beetle Drive, it was so long away, and we're already here, and that's crazy to me. But, Luke was getting changed in a bathroom stall. Everyone's bugging him because we're still getting out... bugging, haha. Dung beetling him... haha. I gotta stop. Everyone's annoying him because like they're trying to figure out all the last minute kinks, getting the band together, where Alex is meant to be looking after an Earl. The Earl came in because Alex hasn't found him. Things are going on. There's this the Earl, the Duke, whatever his fucking title, fancy old people, rich people, British titles. He's like, he's old, and last year he like wandered off and went with a sex worker to another country, and he didn't get to donate money to us, and I'm like, shit's going on. There are rich people. That's crazy. But it was just really fun, and Luke's really stressed out at the moment because things are kind of turning out and things are looking good, and he's not as worried, but it's still people are showing up and it's his whole thing, and he's getting a bit nervous. Although, speaking of treats of suits, I couldn't quite resist checking out the tuxedo-wrapped piece of man Hunkry, who just come in and was asking the receptionist for the directions to the crap fundraiser. And then, immediately, I felt guilty because I had a possible actual real boyfriend now. And then the confused opposite of guilty when I realized the tuxedo-wrapped piece of man Hunkry was my possible actual real boyfriend. God, that was that was hard for my brain to wrap around. I lifted my hand in a "I'm definitely not overwhelmed by how hot you are" wave, and Oliver came striding over in a flash of black and white and gorgeous. "You are ridiculously good looking," I said, attacking him with my eyes. "You know that?" He smiled at me, all jawlines and cheekbones. "Normally, I'd say the same to you, but at the moment you look like you got dressed in a toilet stall." "Yeah, there's a fairly obvious reason for that." "Come here." I came here, and Oliver made a number of swift, certain adjustments to my clothing that I found weirdly sexy despite being entirely SFW. He even redid my bow tie, and from the front and everything, you had to admire a man with coordination like that. There, he leaned in and kissed me chastely. Apparently somehow we'd gone from people who needed to practice any sort of physical contact to ever-challenging appropriate workplace smooch. Ridiculously good looking. I was probably gazing at him pathetically. Well, not ridiculous, maybe slightly absurd, in the right light. On the contrary, Lucian, you're always captivating. Okay, you're sailing precariously close to the wind here, because if you keep this up, I'll need to shag you in the nearest closet, and I'm technically supposed to be doing my job here. And another of his killing me to pieces smiles. I'm supposed to be helping you with it. Got to be honest, I'm 50-50 on the job thing right now. You know that's not true. You've worked very hard for this. I sighed. Yeah, okay, but you better make it up to me later. I fully intend to. Then he slid his arm around my waist, and we went in together. What good chapters! Oh, it's so cute. I'm so excited to see them do the Beetle Drive, and I just really hope they smash it out of the park and nothing goes wrong. I think Oliver's gonna be there and they're just in a good place. I'm so scared. Like, I feel like there's gotta be some other conflict and I don't want it to happen, and I don't know if it's gonna be at the Beetle Drive or his parents' anniversary, but I'm scared and I'm worried, but I'm also so happy and just elated and just gushy from those chapters. And the bloody sex was we didn't even get the sex described, just like the lead up of the foreplay and just them and their relationship melding and them being together and like really being honest and loving each other. It's just fucking delightful and I'm loving it, and I'm just like, I think I'm on something today. This chapter has given me like literal drugs. This chapter was drugs and I'm high on boyfriend material. Like I'm frantic, I'm itchy, I'm moving a lot, I'm buzzed. I'm literally going nuts. That's how good these chapters were. That's how much those words like were injected into me, and I'm just fueled by the like actual brilliance of it. I don't know. The insightful, well, you know, it's probably not insightful. The somewhat interesting commentary I try to bring every week is not happening this week, but I am fine with it because these chapters were fun and spoke for themselves, and it was just delightful, and I'm bloody happy from it. Like everyone else, like I'm not alone here. Like chapter 30, that horny chapter, that and like what was leading up to it in the friends like Jennifer's party, that's got to be a part of everyone's favorite, right? Is that like something? Obviously, don't spoil anything coming, but like from everything that we've had, and everything has been so amazing, and I definitely have other favorite parts too. But like that was a good bit, right? That was like fucking fantastic. I don't know. I enjoyed it so much, and I think I'm going to be crazy for literally the rest of the day, and I am not mad about it. But yeah, other than that, that's all for this week. That's all. I should hopefully... I said this last... when we were reading Red, White, Royal Blue, I kept saying, yeah, I'll put the poll up. Didn't do it quickly at all. Hopefully I'll get to it at a more appropriate time this week, but let me know if you've got any other recommendations that you would like me to put on there, and I'll think about which ones. I'll have a look them up and have a little bit of a gaze and see what looks good. But other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed these chapters, and I hope to see you next week for more.